Hi everyone, and welcome back to Wonder Freely. Today is the day you've been waiting for. We are finally going to find out what it costs for 1 year on the road in our RV. And I'm wearing my glasses today because this is serious stuff. Keep in mind that our goal for RVing may not be the same as your goal for RVing. Our goal was not just to save money. Our goal actually focused more on being able to see all of America and love every minute of it. So our choices may be different from your choices. If you are looking to RV in order to save money and that is your goal, you can absolutely make that happen. And you will see that our expenses over the year were definitely less from the lifestyle that we had prior to RVing. But again, our goal wasn't just to save money, so you'll see our choices may be different. So let's get started. One of the main things that I'm sure you want to know, and I'm just going to add this first, so if that's all you want to know, then you can stop watching this video. But the first thing is campgrounds. What did it cost for us for a year of living in campgrounds? Now, there are several factors that are going to affect your cost here, and I've broken them down for us quickly. The first one is location. If you're in the central part of the country, you're going to make out. If you're on either coast, it's going to be a lot harder. So keep that in mind. Also, the length of stay. We stay typically 3 to 4 days in an area, and then we keep moving. So a long stay for us is a week. However, if you're able to take advantage of weekly rates and also monthly rates, you will find that you will be able to save quite a bit of money. There are also a lot of membership options. We only use Good Sam. We also signed up for the KOA rewards program the first time that we stayed in a KOA, which we don't stay in them very often, but the first time that we did, they were running some discounts, so it actually paid for itself like that first time. So, but that's not something that we do regularly. If you do like KOAs, then definitely get involved with that. But we're only Good Sam members, and so keep that in mind. There may be other options that work good for you. Next is free nights. Now, in our course of a whole year, it took us 3 months until we did our first free night. And then in the course of the year, we only did 7 of them. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And then finally, if you're staying in a place, which is what we usually do with full hookups, keep in mind that that includes all of your utilities. So for us, and that's why we don't do a lot of free nights, for us, with Chris working, it's very, very important that we have electricity and we're not watching how much electricity that we use, and also that we have some sort of internet. It doesn't have to be great, but he needs to be able to communicate back and forth. So with that in mind, our rates, since we only did 7 free nights stay, and pretty much I think there were only a couple times that we did maybe electric only, but for the most part you're going to get a pretty good view of what it looks like for a year to stay in all full hookup campgrounds. So that includes all your utilities in addition to your, it's your water, it's your sewer, it's your trash, something you may not think of. For us, it was our electric, it was our internet. We do not pay anything extra for additional internet. We only ever use the campground internet, so that's all included. Also your cable. We don't have TV, we don't take advantage of the cable, but the majority of I would say like 95% of the places that we stayed also had cable channels. So that's all of that combined. So it's not just like your rent or your mortgage. So are you ready for our number? I wish I could hear your guesses, but here it is. Chris broke it down for us. For the year, for the month, and then also for the day. And like I said, keep in mind that for us, since we're pretty much full-time, all full hookups most of the time, that is a pretty good number for your rent and all your utilities. That number, even this number alone, is less than our mortgage payment was. So that didn't even just our mortgage, not including any utilities, this number is still a lot less. Next up for your expenses that will probably change on the road is the fuel. And there are a couple options here, whether you have diesel or gas. We have diesel. The size of your rig, obviously we have a smaller one, so if you have a much bigger one, ours is a 26-foot fifth wheel. So if you have a much bigger one, take that into account. Also the number of miles that you drive. We move a lot. So our total number of miles was over 24,000 for the year, and about half of that was towing. So keep that in mind. You probably may not, if you're planning on doing longer stays, you will not be covering that many miles, and therefore you will have less fuel cost than we did. Also, your location and your landscape. So again, different parts of the country, fuel actually, is cheaper. Again, if you stay in the central part of the country, you really make out in pretty much every category. But so different places, the cost of fuel is different, but also the landscape that you're driving. If you're driving a lot of hills, a lot of mountains, you're going to use more fuel. That is also going to be a factor that changes the amount of your cost of fuel. So here are our fuel costs for the year. You can see it for the year, for the month, and for the day. And I have to be honest with you, I can't say that we really knew how much we would be paying. We don't ever say to ourselves, let's not do that because we want to save fuel. We always just go. So, and we used to both work full time, and we each had an hour a day, a half hour there, half hour back. We each had an hour a day commutes, and honestly, this, for our monthly gas bill, it was probably about the same. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you're looking to travel as much as we do and move as much as we do, this could be about what you're looking at. Next up is maintenance, because there's always maintenance, and you're going to have maintenance on your house, or, well, probably not in your apartment if you're renting, depending on what your deal is, but you're also going to have maintenance on the road for your RV and for your vehicle. So for us, things to keep in mind are what type of vehicle you have and what type of RV you have. Ours are both 10 years old. They were both 2006 models, so we were able to take advantage of paying a lot less up front, but we were looking at possibly more maintenance. Also, your location, where you have the work done. I can tell you for sure that the prices in like California are going to be more expensive. So hope that you have problems in places that have more realistic prices. Even better, I hope that you have no maintenance issues and yours can be zero. So our numbers are here for the year for our truck and then also for our fifth wheel. They may look a little bit high to you, but keep in mind that for both items, we got all new tires. So we have all new tires on the truck, and we have all new tires on our fifth wheel as well. So that was kind of the big ticket item. So those were the main categories we could think of in terms of cost, but we also came up with some other categories that are kind of miscellaneous travel categories that you may want to consider. The first one is tolls. We did pay quite a bit in tolls, definitely more than we usually do in the course of a year, but that will depend on where you go. We try to avoid toll roads as much as possible, but sometimes it's just not possible, and especially I think Route 80 near home for us, it's a lot harder, but Route 80 there through, Ohio, and there's tolls there. And then also, once you get to the West Coast, there's a lot on bridges. So keep that in mind. Eating out, it is more tempting. You are traveling, so be careful about that. We always pack our lunch and pack our food all the time. Entrance fees. The entrance fees can be substantial because here you are, you're exploring the whole country. You're getting to see things that you didn't even think you'd be able to in your lifetime, and so of course as you go to new places you want to see everything. So it can get expensive. One technique that we use to try to keep our costs down there is we always look, since we have a national park pass, the annual national park pass, we make sure that we look for things that are federally funded so that our membership will count towards that. So national historic sites, national parks, we always choose those over state parks because we've already paid for it. It's included in our membership. Also, mail, depending on what you do. We didn't have a fee because my loving sister and brother-in-law take care of that for us, thankfully. And so, but you will have a fee for mail if you do sign up for a mail service. Also, laundry. We have our washer and dryer, and that was a big investment up front, but now we don't pay for laundry ever. So keep that in mind, that however many loads you do, you can probably estimate in a week what it's going to cost you to do laundry. Souvenirs, yep, you're going to want to get them. We actually don't buy a whole lot of souvenirs. Chris has started you can see it behind me, in our bookshelf. He buys stickers in a lot of the national parks and things that we go to, which is really cute. But we buy gifts for our family. We really don't buy a whole lot for ourselves. Insurance, you're obviously going to have insurance on your vehicle and insurance on your RV, whatever models, whatever situation you have. We actually also have, because a little net flying around, because we have a Chris's computer in particular, which is very expensive, we actually also have renter's insurance, which covers the contents. Most of the stuff I wouldn't care if something happened to it, but the computer is a big ticket item, so keep that in mind. Propane, that also is something. So your utilities are included, which means our air conditioning runs off of electric, so wherever we are, it's taken care of. Our heat, we have a small space heater that runs off electric. We use that almost exclusively. But if you do use propane for your heat and not electric, then you will have to consider that. Also, like for our cooking, our refrigerator runs on propane. In between places, when we're hooked up to electric, it runs on the electric, but when we're not hooked up, that propane is running. So I had asked Chris, and he thinks that we have two 30-gallon tanks, and he filled a tank 4 times for the course of the year. So, and it ended up being even less than that because we haven't filled them since. So keep that in mind. But you will have a fee for your propane depending on your setup. And finally, storage. If you weren't able to get rid of everything before you left and fit it on, then you're probably paying storage somewhere. In addition to all of those travel expenses, you also have your regular expenses that you have now in a regular setting. So your food, your phone, whatever you do for your phone, your internet. If you purchase extra internet for traveling, then you're going to have that. We just use our regular data plan that's with our phones, and it just increased to 16 gigs. I think we had 12, and then when we went back in to find out about going to Canada and making sure we had service, they actually had a better program again. So check back with Verizon all the time because they always have a better deal going. So we now have 16. Your health insurance, good luck. Try to figure that out. I can't really give you any tips there because that's really a difficult decision to make, and how you handle that is different. We went with a super cheap plan, but just to get us through for a while. And then also your medications or supplements. If you're on medications, obviously those expenses will stay the same. I actually take a lot of supplements, so those expenses stay the same for me as well. So that covers our cost numbers for the year, and I hope I didn't scare you too much. I hope you found those encouraging. Yes, we definitely saved money living on the road as compared to what we had before, but that all depends on your lifestyle. It really does. And so if you feel like I really want to save money, my recommendation to you would be to try to start saving money now in your current lifestyle. So your food, those things, because they won't change when you get on the road, really. They're probably going to be the same. So don't think to yourself, well, I'm going to get on the road and then I'm going to cut my grocery bill in half. There's really no reason for that to happen. So if you can't do it now, being on the road isn't going to help you in any way in terms of your grocery bill. So keep that in mind. But I hope that gives you a good feeling for the campgrounds that we stayed in, how much that cost, and also our fuel. Keep in mind we covered a lot of ground, over 24,000 miles, and we traveled through 29 different states. So our numbers are very varied, if that makes sense. So they're really good for more road trippers, people who are looking to use a lot. And we stayed in California for an entire month. That definitely raised our cost as well, because that was definitely the most expensive state to be in that we found. So if you're really looking to save money, our recommendation is stay in the middle part of the country and also try to lengthen your stays. But I hope that our numbers are kind of realistic if you're looking to do something similar to what we did. So all of our best wishes for you. And seriously, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below, because we're happy to answer them, even when it comes to finance and cost. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.